things have changed lately, especially with the addition and the changes of the latest medical gameplay loop. It's healthy. It's healthy for the community to see this kind of stuff. It's healthy for CIG to understand that the community is watching. And we are watching and we are criticizing probably a lot, probably too much. Star Citizen is totally not ran by the marketing team, which is a topic that I'm very interested in. This video is from Grumpy Eye Gaming. I love talks about how much the marketing is actually playing a role into what's happening with the game. Yesterday we watched the unscripted video. I'll find the link and I'll post it on Discord because that was very, very good. It was such a funny video. All right, there we go. There it goes.
You're probably thinking I'm a goner.
Did you change Medbed respawning just to sell more nurses? I went and talked to a design director for Squadron 42 in the Precision Universe, Rick Porter. He was on the last Star Citizen Live. You met him along with Rick and Rich and JJ.
Bit of context about what's going on here is that apparently they said back in the day that medical beds was going to be something that was only for specific ships, and it wasn't going to be a big part of the gameplay loop, and medical beds were, you know, kind of like more of a novelty. However, things have changed lately, especially with the addition and the changes of the latest medical gameplay loop. And there it goes.
They were the makers of the original Medbed spawning system back when they were just on the actor feature team. Back then, which is about 4 years ago, their intention was for all medbeds to allow spawning. Why don't more multi-crew ships have medbays of any tier whatsoever?
I don't think the Carrack is the only non-capital ship at the moment, because we have the Apollo and the Cutlass Red, but it is a supremely powerful feature to have in your ship. So we don't want every ship and its son having medbed in there that you have as your mobile respawn point. So
exactly right. That was supposed to be something that was intended only for a selected amount of ships, and it was gonna be, it was something that, you know, not everyone should have had access to it. Now with the Nursa, I love that name for the medevac Ursa, things have changed. With $55 or buying it in game, you can pretty much fit it in a lot of different ships. That kind of like solves a big problem for people.
We do want to restrict the availability of those to ships that make sense. So the Kraken would make sense because it is sort of like a mobile space station. The Carrack is a supremely long distance exploration ship where you're going to be out in the deep expansive space a long time. But having it in the back of your Cutlass, like your bog standard Cutlass that you just chucked in there, maybe not. But the Red, again, designed as an ambulance.
And just for some to be at this distance and some to be at this distance. That was their original intent. It didn't get in at the time because of this, that, or the other thing. It was 4 years ago.
And then the second is respawning, which you sort of access in a very similar way. You lie down on the bed, you set the medical beds to be your respawn point. And then at that point, if you die and the ship is still in the relative vicinity, you can respawn back to the ship, which is a big feature. I think for me, it's just the extension of group play. Because when you play as a group at the moment, as soon as one of you makes a mistake and dies, they're essentially out of the group for a long period of time whilst they get back, and this fills that gap in and it just allows those groups to play on for longer.
Tier 2 and above facilities or ships will only have the ability to respawn. So that means Tier 3 medical beds won't allow you to respawn. And Tier 3 medical beds are what's in the Cutlass Red right now. So that's going to be a loss of functionality, which is what it currently has. But this was always the intention. That was always a placeholder solution when we added it to the PU, I think, like the start of 2020.
There will be a difference between, and I think we've shown sneak previews of things like the med gun as well. There will be other ways to heal yourself beyond a med bed going forward. So you won't need a med bed in the back of your ship if you break your legs on a planet, you'll be able to use other mechanics to heal yourself.
So looking at it through the context of Star Citizen today is, of course, natural and proper, and you absolutely should. And a lot of that feedback that we're seeing is because of how they're looking through it through the lens of Star Citizen today. But they are making decisions, laying the groundwork for Star Citizen tomorrow and the day after and the day after.
So that means tier 3 medical beds won't allow you to respawn.
Back then, which was about 4 years ago, their intention was for all med beds to allow spawning.
But this was always the intention. That was always a placeholder solution when we added it to the PU, I think, like the start of 2020.
Back then, which was about 4 years ago, their intention was for all med beds to allow spawning.
But this was always the intention. That was always a placeholder solution when we added it to the PU, I think, like the start of 2020.
You lie down on the bed.
So now what's happening is that, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, there is a differentiation between tier 2 and tier 3. Pretty much the range of which you can spawn is different based on the med bed that you have. I think it's 20 kilometers and 50 kilometers respectively. Let's continue watching and I'll definitely give my input on this.
You set the medical beds to be your respawn point.
And enjoy getting back into the fight even quicker and more consequence-free for the time being. But that change is coming.
Because the regen has always been the strategy.
My
Bruh.
understanding from reading social media is that marketing just tells you what you have to do.
I love how he puts them on the spot like that. And I'm sure that there is talk before going into live on the questions that are going to be asked, and the questions go through their marketing team, and maybe some of them are censored and whatnot. Jared looks like doesn't really care and just goes for it. That's what it looks like, at least. But I think it's good that those questions are brought up, and it's good to also have the other part, the devs, giving context on what's going on. And as long as there is the conversation and they're open about it, I think it's very good.
Marketing certainly have a say in what they would like, but at the end of the day, it comes down to Chris, Rich, myself, balancing that with what's best for the game.
Switching these beds out.
What does that mean, right?
With any Apollo?
It's just the tier 3 ones at the moment. I don't know how we're gonna plan on that. That's one for the marketing department to decide on.
Marketing certainly have a say in what they would like, but at the end of the day, it comes down to Chris, Rich, myself, balancing that with what's best for the game.
Correct me if I'm wrong. What he's saying is that what we want to do also has to match what marketing wants. And what marketing wants isn't necessarily related to what they want to do. Finding that balance is crucial to having a healthy game and a healthy development, because I also think that if you just leave devs doing whatever they want, they're gonna take centuries to make the best game that they think they can make, right? I think that the marketing team in this case is kind of acting like the external shareholders, as it would happen in any other company. Again, the balancing, it's where we want to focus on, and understanding where and why they say the things that they do is crucial into understanding also where the game is headed, right? Look, this has been edited, but I do remember watching the live and this actually happened. Like, you know, of course this has been put in loop, but Jared just gave him the best stare when he said that.
That's right. I'm realizing there's absolutely nothing I can say here that'll change anybody else's mind, so just move on.
What did we learn this week?
So what did we learn about this week?
So what did we learn this week? So what did we learn about this week?
What? So what did we learn this week?
So what did we learn this week? Well, so what did we learn this week? So what did we learn this week?
So what did we learn this week?
So what did we learn about this week?
So what did we learn this week?
So what did we learn this week?
So what did we learn this week?
So with that, What did we learn this week?
Once we start a ship, we see it through to the end of release, and we don't tend to start ships now in production without fairly firm guarantees that the gameplay is going to come with them at the end.
That's a very, very big one as well, right? Because that was the promise that List made few times, where they wouldn't be working and releasing ships till the gameplay was there. It definitely feels like that's not been the case. Yeah, that's a bit of a controversial one. I understand that from a point of view, they have to put out there what they're working on. You know, these people have to get paid, like, let's be honest here. And the way that they get paid is by people buying ships, because we are not necessarily paying for a subscription, even though you can actually pay for a subscription to the game. This is something that I have learned not that long ago, but most of the money comes from the sale of ships, and that's why they have the Invictus, the IE, and whatnot. Once again, I don't want to repeat myself, but how you balance that with the gameplay loops that are actually working right now, that's the big question. That's the big question mark behind what's cool. What's going... I think I missed that. Notable changes for May 25th, 2022. Anvil Legionnaire, which is actually like a super cool looking ship. I can't wait for it. Building, implementing, and balancing Anvil Aerospace dedicated boarding ship, the Legionnaire, as a game-ready vehicle. This deliverable has been added to the narrative, vehicle concept art, and vehicle content. Notable changes for November 9th, 2022. Due to the vehicle awaiting a gameplay dependency from Squadron 42, this deliverable has been temporarily removed from Progress Tracker, Legionnaire. Again, kind of what they were talking about. One thing is for sure, the Legionnaire is not in game yet, and I suppose that's a good thing, because the main objective for that ship is so you can board other ships. So if the game loop is not there yet, then kind of like loses its value, right? Tambril Ranger, building, implementing, and balancing Tambril Land System two-wheeled bike, the Ranger, as a game-ready vehicle. This deliverable has been added to the US vehicle content and vehicle experience team schedule. RSI Apollo, building, implementing, and balancing RSI medical craft, the Apollo, which is also a ship that I'm really much looking forward to. I love medical gameplay. I'm usually the healer in every other game, so I cannot wait to try it in Star Citizen. As a game-ready vehicle, delivery has been added to the US content, okay? Notable changes for September 14th, 2022. So same year and same thing happened with the Legionnaire. After assessing with the team and vehicles being worked on Squadron 42, taking higher priority, the following vehicles are being removed from Progress Tracker temporarily until resources can be relocated. RSI Apollo and the Ranger, of course. I'll keep it a second so you guys can read. MSR, clear example. Same with the Aquila, same with any other data related ship, right? There was a loop, by the way, that ship is not that long. No tractor beam from the raft, that's right. Okay, what's the problem with the 400i? Well, yeah, fair enough. Exploration. Currently, exploration is what you're seeing in the video. You just go around with the ship and you sightsee, which I personally like doing, but there is no real in-game reward for it. Yep, same thing Atlas Blue. Got the pods for prisoner transport and we do not have that game loop. Correct me if I'm wrong though, I think that all these ships have been in concept or released or almost there before the interviews that we've seen earlier where they were like, you know, we're not going to release ships. Doesn't really matter because it's still happening to this day, but just bring it up. Same with the steel. No reason to exist beside when they have the event in Arena Commander, which I understand not many people play it, and therefore I guess that's why they keep the gameplay modes on rotation. I was fortunate enough to log into a game a couple days ago. It was quite alright, don't get me wrong, and I would love to see this stuff in actual live. Like I cannot wait for it to be coming to a point where we actually have ground wars with tanks and vehicles, and I'm gonna be sure to go on my bike around shooting people with a shotgun. That's what I'm gonna do. Oof. Still useless. Looks good.
That was different way back in the past. We would just work on a ship. We'd ask for the gameplay. If the gameplay wasn't there, we'd shove it out. Example, staff error. That's not how we want to do things these days. And hopefully people have seen that over the last, I don't want to say 3-4 years, where we deliver ships with their gameplay because it improves the experience for everyone.
It would also be fair to say that we've taken a couple diversions every once in a while, and yep. Stuff like we embarked on an initiative to only develop ships that have relevant gameplay and stuff, and for the most part we've held to that with a couple minor hiccups every once in a while.
Great video. Look, there is definitely a bit of negativity around it, and that's okay. I think that good criticism, even when it's sarcastic and it's funny like this, I think it brings up a lot of good, valid points. If you want to go back in time, comedy actually was a way for the commoners to bring up social and political and economical issues to the nobles and the higher ups, right? That was the way that the common folks, that was one of the tools that they used to bring up those issues and make sure that whoever needed to hear that they would hear it and quote them under a bit of funny laughter, right? Funny, not really in a way. I think it's good to bring this stuff up. I think it's good that it's healthy. It's healthy for the community to see this kind of stuff. It's healthy for CIG to understand that the community is watching, and we are watching, and we are criticizing probably a lot, probably too much, gotta be honest. But yeah, I think that it was a very good video to watch because what has been said not always is reflected into what's happening or will happen in the future. Therefore, even though we have more of have a good understanding of where the game is going overall, I think we shouldn't have our feet planted to the ground with what we have right now available. So yeah, great video, Grumpy Eye Gaming. I suppose that's the dude. We kind of look the same. Yes, you got it. Thank you so much for the video. Go and subscribe to the guy. Again, I love good satire. I love how, without saying a word in the whole video, he made a lot of good, very good points. So, thumbs up.